Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Returning back to the show, Paul Harvey. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, Danny, good on yourself, thanks.
Good, good. So, when you're in the UK, you're over soon, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be next month for Stellar Sessions.
Yeah,
Excited.
so, well, 15, 16 days away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, be good to see you there. It's been a while. Interesting conversation today. We're going to be talking about um, opportunities for Amazon sellers, effectively. Like the guys that maybe they're doing mid six figures, it's getting heavy on inventory turns and cash flow and stuff like that. And obviously, there's 80 to 100 aggregators out there, and they all need staff as well. And Amazon sellers are very well placed for
Mm-hmm.
positions like that, even if it's part-time and, or they're growing their Amazon business and they want to work in the industry rather than doing a side gig whilst they've been building their business. Yeah. So let's have a chat about your experience. We won't name them, but you worked with an aggregator for a period of time. So you got to see it the cold face. I know a few other people, obviously two types of aggregators. You've got the operators who know their stuff, your Thrasios, your Brandeds, your Elevate brands, your Purchase, etc. And then there's other guys out there as well that are good at raising money, but they don't have the skill set. So take it away.
Yeah, so how this came to be was that, because I've been Amazon, I think just close over 10 years now. I feel old saying that, but over 10 years, we don't realize, most Amazon sellers don't realize what they're actually worth. By all the failures and problems we've gone through, we're actually worth a lot of money because we have the experience, we have the know-how to make things work. And when I worked with a lot of not just aggregators, big companies as well, big brands as well, they really have some lofty ambitions, but they can't execute because they don't know the problems which are going to arise. Whereas most Amazon sellers have pretty much already been through those problems
They've been in the
tenfold.
trenches, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're in the
Yeah.
trenches. They've dug their hole. They're still trying to get out. So what happened to me was that a lot of sellers started reaching out to me saying, "Hey, Paul, like we know you work with a lot of companies. Do you know any jobs that are going? Just some
Yeah.
side hustles that I can bring some extra money in."
Yeah.
And what's funny is I can't criticize because when I started selling on Amazon, my mindset, my business model was I would consult to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Anything extra I would use to grow my Amazon business, and actually I just use the consulting money to launch tons of new businesses. Some did well, some didn't well. But it's nice because I had that extra income to do that. And
Yeah.
that's what most sellers can do right now. They're in high demand. Right now, what's funny is that I was speaking to a long-time recruiter in the space, and he said right now what we're going through is the dot-com bubble boom, but for e-commerce.
Yeah.
Since
On a much
aggregate
smaller scale, but still
smaller, yeah.
relative. Yeah. Yeah.
But still in the Amazon community, the e-com community, it's blowing up because a lot of venture equity has been funded into Amazon and they need operators. So right now, just by being an operator, just by being an Amazon seller,
Yeah.
you're in high demand.
Yeah. And also inflation as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like even on the PPC side, you'll speak to agencies as well. Talent pool that gets drained, right? So they go to
Mm,
the aggregators, they've been paid 35 to 60% higher than their previous jobs, or they go to the high street agencies that do all encompassing, when they do their TV spends and stuff like that. Because most
mhm,
of the bigger brands, not all, but most of them, don't want to use two agencies. They've got their agencies that covers their Google ads. They'll do their Facebook, their TV spend. They want it all in the same place. And then what happens? There's a talent drain that goes to those guys as well because they've got obviously they're not on a fixed pace price, meaning how many account managers per account and stuff like that. And I'm imagining it's the same with operators. Like
yeah.
money's getting silly now. I've interviewed a few people even recently, really poor level PPC managers,
Mm,
like in terms of knowledge and skill set. You pick them apart in a couple of seconds, but they want 10 grand a month,
yeah.
and it's like you're overvaluing yourself because of the market, the way that it gets
Mm,
dictated to. And so when you've got to try and work that out, and you're going to get the same with the operators as well. And this
mm,
is why Amazon sellers are very much well placed, that let's say you're a mid six-figure seller and you've had a bit of a rough ride. It's going okay. You've had the issues with logistics and stuff like that. You could probably still pull 70 to 80 grand, go and work at an aggregator. And that's also good income there whilst you're still building your Amazon business. Because at the end of the day, whilst Amazon is far from a side hustle, you still need to make money. Even some of the bigger guys in the space doing 7, 8 figures, they're running courses. Why? Because that's good cash flow. And that cash flow gets fed into inventory. We've had people like Brandon Young speak about it on the show, because the overheads to doing a course is a lot lower. So let's talk about your experience. So you were at the coalface. You was at one of the newer aggregators that I think has been bought up just recently. You were there for a while. Let's talk about that experience, and was it like startup culture, etc.?
So pretty much what I've come across, and I work with about quite a few aggregators now, and what I come across is that a successful aggregator is built of entrepreneurs. A lot of the aggregators, there are no entrepreneurs there. So if you give an entrepreneur a task, even if they don't know how to do it, they will figure it out.
Find a way.
They will find a way. But with some aggregators, you give them a task and they'll say, how? Why? Why should we do this? They don't understand the pretense. They understand how
they come from corporates. So they go to corporates, they have a meeting about having a meeting. They don't get any shit done. Not all corporates, but generally that kind of vibe. You get these mid-level players. They're better at managing rather than doing. And therefore everything requires a meeting to sign off a pixel on a design and stuff. It takes 12 of them.
Exactly. For example, the average aggregator, in my experience, if they want to hire me for a service or something, it would take them 3 months to get through all the paperwork and the higher ups and so on and so forth. It'll take them 3 months to actually execute on just hiring me or just for a project. Whereas if I speak to you or any other Amazon seller, they'll make their mind up in a day and action it. And the aggregators,
but that's not just sellers, that's entrepreneurs. You're more nimble, is what you're saying. So you're saying that some of the ones that you dealt with, they run more like a corporate.
Yes, very much so.
Because they come back maybe from investment banking and stuff, so they're used to that kind of structure of how they work.
Very much so. And what's funny is if you look at the people doing this, they can create some really amazing Excel spreadsheets. They go through all the avenues and some really impressive spreadsheets, but they spent all day creating a spreadsheet. Like that's not going to.
Unfortunately, Amazon businesses, you can't build them in spreadsheets. There's too many moving parts, especially when it comes to scale. If people buying up lots of brands, one of the difficult areas for anyone to manage just with 1 or 2 brands is your logistics. And now you've got this situation. Unfortunately, with the war and material costs, they're going to be becoming more scarce, so that drives up the price as well. When you've got hundreds, 50, 100 brands, that's a lot of sideways move that a spreadsheet can't account for.
Oh yeah, there's just so much. For example, in one of the aggregators I used to work with, when they did a launch, they said to me, because I was running PPC for them, they said to me, "Okay, Paul, we're doing a launch. We want 20% ACOS." And if you say to any Amazon seller, launch with 20% ACOS, you'll be laughed at. And that's the difference in mindset.
Because they put it in the spreadsheet. That's how they've worked out their modeling.
Exactly.
They based it on the 20%. Therefore, you have to meet the demands of 20%. Yeah.
And then sometimes if the demand maybe the PPC is too expensive, what they will say is, okay, we'll just turn off PPC. They don't understand that just turning off PPC has so many other effects. It really is. It's a whole network effect that gets changed. And it's not the fault of the companies. It's just experience. We know this because we've been through this so many times.
Yeah. So with the structure where you were at, like you said, the place that you were working with. So with that, they've been bought by a larger aggregator, so that's taken care of. So the brands are safe and everything else. Better operators, I'm taking.
I assume so. I parted ways just after they sold up and stuff. So I'm not sure what the details are, but I assume so.
Yeah. So, I mean, the core of this chat really is the opportunities now for Amazon sellers to work at some aggregators, not all, but some that, require cash flow, injection into their business where they can earn a very good wage, and their value exchange is they bring a lot of experience to the table. One, because they're entrepreneurial. Two, they don't need to have a dozen meetings. And three, they're going to get the cold face and understand how long things can take, especially with Seller Central, support, etc., etc. So you've been working on something at the moment, haven't you? It's a project that you've been doing at the moment to
pretty much
join these
this is
together.
kind of like my way of giving back to the community. And my relationship with Amazon is very much a love-hate relationship. I love them and I hate them sometimes, up and go. But I can't forget that I used to be a high school teacher. And now I'm a stay-at-home dad raising my kids. I would never had this option if I was still a teacher. So I want to give back. I want to help Amazon sellers. I get people reaching out to me almost on a daily basis saying, "Hey, Paul, do you know of any opportunities here?" I have aggregators reaching out to me saying, "Do you know of any good operators or people that can do this and that? And can you introduce us?" So what we did then, I created a very quick job portal where Amazon sellers can put their details. Companies, big projects, everything can just post their job on there and figure it out. There's no paywall or anything. People can start testing it out. And the idea is just to help Amazon sellers learn how much they're worth.
Yeah. So what do you think in terms of one of the problems when you're doing something like that? You need both sides of the table, right? So you can't get the sellers without the jobs. What are you putting in place? Like, I know you've got good relationships with the aggregators. Have you got clearance? Because it's obviously you can put it out there and go, oh, look, we've got a job board, but it could be like a ghost town.
Exactly.
What are you doing in terms of driving this? Meaning, do you have a list of the 100 aggregators and people are interested?
Oh yeah. So what we're doing, we're going to two fronts at this. I've hired a team just to find candidates. So that for us, that's very easy. We are our candidates ourselves. So just go into the Amazon communities, get people to sign up and just put their details if they're interested. What we will be doing soon is releasing like a salary survey showing what type of jobs pay in e-commerce accordingly. And that's quite nice because you'd be surprised. Just last week, I was looking at someone, they applied for a job, and in essence, it was just listing optimization. That was it, which is not a bad job. But they were being charged, the job paid £60,000 a year, whereas their rival competitor were paying £120,000 per year. So I'm creating a salary survey just to help people understand what they're worth and where they go, and if they work remotely or go in house, and go from there.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the available jobs, the characteristics of an Amazon seller, where their benefits. So someone who's going to, I imagine, because I don't know enough about that, but at the aggregators, there's probably groups of people that just manage Seller Central, and then they've got elements of Seller Central that they take care of, and then they've got the PPC teams that take care of the brands, and then they're siloed into groups. Yeah. What are some of the jobs that, we said copywriting. I mean, there are services out there. I think even Jungle Scout's got a job board, but they're normally, that's more like, from my understanding, I haven't looked through it for a while. That job board was more like, instead of having people on Upwork or something like that, it was allow Amazon sellers to buy services from Amazon providers. Whereas this is more like, this is higher position salary jobs that you can go into. So let's talk about some of the experience level and the requirements for some of these jobs and what you see would be posted on there.
So, for example, the most in-demand job I've seen is PPC. I think that goes without saying. That is in high demand. And someone with as little as 2 years experience can get a really high paying. Not even 2 years good experience, just 2 years experience, because there's such a high demand right now. So PPC, I see PPC, then I see copywriting, and then pretty much everything that Amazon sellers do themselves, they have a job for that. So for example, someone just finding influencers for the brand, that's one job. Someone just doing keyword research, that's one job. Because the way most aggregators work is that they have a brand manager. Under the brand manager, it's their job to make sure the keywords are done, listings are optimized, all that stuff. And then for each of those jobs, they have a team in place which they can reach out to and get the job done. The problem is a lot of these teams are siloed. So if you do keyword research, you will only do keyword research. So the aggregator isn't looking for someone that's really good at creating PPC. They want someone that just does keyword research. So what goes really well now is that by having a job portal, you can focus on only the jobs that excite you, because there's so much in Amazon mind.
I can't imagine doing 40 hours a week of keyword research and relevance marking and stuff would be a fun job, but there are people out there that enjoy it.
Really are, yeah. That's the thing. There's just a niche for everything. And then also, what's nice about this is a lot of the big companies overlook VAs, virtual assistants. So when I give you someone that comes from like Pakistan, for example, this person would have about 8 years experience on Amazon and managed multiple 7-figure brands. Yet they will be overlooked because they're too cheap. And because they're from Pakistan and things like that. I feel
you mean they get snobby about that, and they're not really because it's too far remote and stuff. They'd probably rather Americans, or if it's language based for translations, they'll go into Germany, etc., for the European markets. 100%. Yeah, there's probably I think I understand what you mean. Because of all the red tape, there'll be a bit of stigma. It's like we can't just go to onlinejobs.ph. because there could be too much red tape to get through all of that.
Yeah.
So, but that works for the sellers themselves that are looking for side gigs to supplement income there. Indeed.
Yeah. So the aim of the portal is really to be a place where agencies, companies, even sellers, if you need help for something, post a task, see what you can get. There's just such a plethora of content and talented people out there.
Have you got a link we can post here, and I'll add it to the show notes?
It's amzjobs.com.
amzjobs.com.
So that's pretty much it. What we're going to be doing is when I start reaching out to all the aggregators and e-com companies, I'll be doing days with like, what's a day of life? What's a day in the life? What's a day in the life of Thrasio? So what if you work with Thrasio, what's it like? If you work for Elevate, what's it like? And so on and so forth. To actually show that which communities are nice.
Okay, and so you got a load of jobs up already. I'm just having a look. Sorry, Paul, go on, finish what you're saying. Apologies.
And what we're doing as well, I'm going to put the onus on the companies. For example, if you make a job application at, let's say, XYZ, then did XYZ reply? I want you, the candidate, to actually rate that company. Because a lot of times people just get mishandled. So now that you can rate the company, it puts the onus on the company to actually make sure they take care of the candidates that they spoke to.
So just let's run through some of these jobs that are posted. Amazon Web Service, AWS lead. Obviously, it's more technical. That's based in California. E-commerce specialist. That's, again, California. Director of Commerce, Ohio. E-commerce sales manager, e-commerce manager hybrid, e-commerce. So a lot of that e-commerce manager, Amazon marketing specialist. So it's quite broad, maybe just to manage the various different teams. E-commerce business manager, national sales manager, media services. It's all e-com directors, etc. So some of these are not necessarily. There seems to be more like managerial jobs as well. So is the salaries up on here? Just as example.
No, about these jobs, those jobs in there, they've been scraped. So they come from multiple different job platforms and portals and stuff.
Until to kickstart it.
To kickstart it. Once we get all the companies on board posting their jobs, then that will fall away. We added that we scraped those jobs, add them there, and they're continually updated on a daily basis. But we added there just to add content to the site before we really go with it.
Okay, so we're early doors. You skip like a typical entrepreneur, you skip beta and everything else. You just put the site up, and we're now at that stage where you're doing a drive to bring more and more on board. So more and more jobs are available, but obviously there's a dozen or so jobs, if not more, up there at the moment.
And the reason I did this, and I did it, I would say in a rush. I just want to step and get things going because I want to see like the old saying, if you build it, they will come. So
Yeah.
I built it. Will they come now? And I'm very interested.
Yeah,
to
I
see-
remember trying to do that back in 2010. It cost me $500,000. Yeah, and they didn't come. But no,
Yeah.
you know, the thing is, it's out on the show. People historically, as they go through the shows, they'll pick up on it, and I wish you luck with it. And I think it's good for the space if we can get more people out there, especially with the current times at the moment and cash flow restrictions for people. It just means that people can stay in the game if they are struggling on cash flow. And have a good way of supplementing their income. Because let's be honest, you know, if you're running your Amazon business and someone says there's 60 to 80 grand a year, it's not too bad in wages. I mean, I think I think in America they say is that at 72,000, that's the threshold of happiness. That's you off the breadline, not living down low, afford to go on a holiday. Obviously, it's down to you to make yourself happy, but it's that threshold there. Unless you're not too materialistic, as an example, that's not a bad salary to have, especially.
You know, so if we look at a lot of Amazon sellers, and there's actually me in particular, is that if I have a bad month on Amazon, my family won't eat, which sounds ridiculous, but it's kind of true. And this is the case for many, many Amazon sellers. So that's why I do a lot of consulting, because if I have a bad month on Amazon, the consulting money will see my family through the month. And likewise, I think because most Amazon sellers have such a good mindset, such a good knowledge depth, they should be doing that. Everyone should be doing it.
Yeah, cool. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, guys. Sell session now is sold out. We've still got a few tickets left for Branded by Women. Use the discount code 10BBW. I'll be back here tomorrow. Sharon is here Thursday. Take care of yourself and your family. Much love. And Paul, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.